Alright fellas, thanks for rocking with me. We're gonna go through this Singleback Ace Close Ebook update. Real quickly, there are two setups that I missed as I was recording yesterday, so I'm gonna put those at the end. One is the double cross bomb play, which should be with the short side receiver motion snapped to the short side, and the second one is the bench post, which should be with the short side receiver motion to the wide side. Both of those were also done in the first ebook, but for those of y'all that are not familiar, you can go ahead and find those at the end of the video. Now, getting into it though, we're still going to be using the same 5 plays essentially. One thing that I have changed is that I actually put PA cross as my base play that I come out in now. So I replaced that in the audibles with double cross. I still use double cross a lot, but I use PA cross more, which is something that I said will probably happen. Now we're only going to go through each play a time or two. I'm not going to go through every coverage for the most part, because you guys have already seen what most of these things do. So this is going to be PA cross, non-motion. The first thing we're going to do is do all of these things non-motion. We're trying to do as many friendly CFM friendly setups as we can, so no motion snapping. We'll do some where we motion and let the receiver set, but and I'll still show you the motion snap setups as well. So next, what do we got? Bench. Now how to bench, we're doing a few things. Obviously we're going to run it stock. Those corners do very well against cover 2. The underneath routes, of course, cause conflict on the sidelines, so you can run these all sorts of ways. We'll put dual drags out here. We running stock with the 2 out routes. You see there the corner getting wide open. The corner on the short side really gets open a little bit better against cover 2 if you use a streak. Well, they both do, but the corner on the short side, you could use it more. The one on the wide side, not so much. Double flats, you see we'll use too. Now when you have dual streaks going on, if you're facing cover 3, the tight ends on the streaks will get open because the corner is going to draw the attention of the cornerbacks. See, like this. So those against cover 3, the tight ends get open. But I'm finding that I'm actually using bench more and more as well. Not just PA cross. Bench is so flexible, so very flexible, especially once you start doing some motioning and different things. You really get some decent setups. So now with bench, I do a lot of changing up, where I won't do both sides the same. This is one of my favorite setups here. The drag and the hitch works very nicely together. Let's get into double cross. Again, this is without motion, so we'll put the tight end on the corner. We'll block the running back. We'll run it just like this. This is great against man. I'll use it against zone, but I really love it against man. All right, now let's see. I think we might get into some motion now. We might be at that place. Yeah, so this is going to be the short side wide receiver motioned to the short side and allowed to set. So this is one of my favorite setups. This works well against man. It works well against zone. I love it against man, but it also works well against zone. That route to Tyreek is absolutely money, and I'm going to actually go over that later in the video, specifically versus 2-man under. But you see there are tons of setups. So I'm really showing the play out for a lot of different setups, but I'm only snapping once or twice. I don't want to go through all the setups. It's entirely unnecessary. Most of them are things where you're going to take into the lab and just make your reads versus different coverages. Yeah, this is intended to be a quick update, 30 minutes long, probably 30 minutes long, whereas the initial ebook was over an hour. So we're not trying to do another hour. But this is something I love to do right here, out of double cross. So you just got a high load of both sides, and then you got the halfback on the option route right in the middle of the field, curl route right in the middle of the field. Again, this is motion snapping the wide receiver to the left, but I think that's it for short side receiver to the short side of the field. So let's see what we get into next. Okay, so we're doing some motion snapping now. So this isn't for the CFMs that are strict, but I still wanted to show these setups as well. Again, there is one missing from this particular group, which is the short side motion snap to the short side, and that is the double cross bomb, which just features both wide receivers on streaks, both tight ends on corners. That wide receiver obviously motion snap to the short side, and then those two streaks beat a lot of coverages. Again, it was in the first book and it will be at the end of this one. Forgive my voice if I sound a little stuffy, I actually am. Okay, now we're doing the short side receiver motion to the wide side. This was a prominent one in the first ebook. The wide receiver gets wide open against cover 2. He beats some man coverages. The tight end gets up the seam on cover 2. He also absolutely smokes the tight end on that streak. The match coverages. Now this setup out of bench against zone is a free 5 yards. Even more if you turn it up and make somebody miss or truck somebody, which I typically do for tight end. And now the bench setup with the motion post is another one that wasn't included as I was going through the recordings, so I'm going to put that at the end of the video. And again, that's another one that was in the first book, and that's actually one of my favorites. I'm surprised that I forgot it, but it'll definitely be at the end of the book, so make sure you check for that. This gets the corner wide open against cover 3. He actually got open there as well. Okay, I think that was it for bench. Double cross. Oh yeah, this setup a double cross. This is really good against zone in terms of getting the running back open. Tyreek's route will also get underneath zones, and he'll beat man if you get him on the break. But look at the running back. Excuse me, sorry. This is why I've been taking so long to get this out. Actually, I haven't been doing too well. I've been a little under the weather. Son's been sick too. But we make do. Alright, so now we're motioning the halfback, and the truth is this works with the play going either direction, with the halfback going either direction. These setups are pretty straightforward. I prefer the running back motioned underneath the post, so he's going out the same direction as the receiver doing the cross on the crossing route. That's my that's the play I use the most. Now, in all honesty, these bench setups that feature the running back motioned over here, and then you'll see when I do the tight end motioned over here, I don't use them a lot. They're not my favorite plays, but they are there, they are viable, and I do use them some. So I figured I'd just include them. And I always like a drag coming behind, because the drag and the wheel will block well for each other. So it's almost like you're setting up a screen. All right. Now this I absolutely love, this trail route. I showed this in the first ebook as well, but I didn't use the halfback on the wheel. So sometimes I put him on the wheel, sometimes I block him, but that setup is absolutely money. Now the tight end motioned over, I actually like that out of PA cross. Keep it simple. Put the tight end that motions over, I put him on a flat. The other one I put on a drag. Sometimes I'll use the wheel, sometimes I won't. But the flat and the drag underneath these two, the crossing route and the post route, absolutely perfect. That crossing route, as you can see right there, is great if you pass lead it up. If it's in space, you don't need to, but it can be pass let up when it looks like it isn't open. So practice that so you can get used to doing it in game, because there are times I throw that where it doesn't look like it's open, but I'm pass leading it and it's wide open and I'm confident it's going to be. So here's one of those with the tight end motioned over. Like I said, I don't really love them that much out of out of bench, so I'm not using them all that much at all, but they are there and I do want you to see it, especially for the CFM guys. It gives you a few more options in terms of setups that aren't motion snapped. But to be honest, I think you've got enough with everything else I'm going to show anyway. But if you want to try these out, go ahead. I'll tell you what, this one right here out of double cross, I'm going to flat the tight end that comes over, and I'm going to put both wide receivers on hitches. This setup I like, and it's really just to draw attention and like if I need short yardage, the 2 hitches and the flat, and then of course if somebody's playing the short routes, chances are that corner route's going to be open. So that one setup I do like, but that's very specific when I'm going to use it. I think that might be it for the tight end motioned over. Yeah, now these ones I absolutely love. This is the wide receiver motion to the short side of the field. You're not going to see any gameplay on this because actually I was labbing this. I haven't played any games since I labbed this, but I know these route combos work. They're something that I've used in many different formations before, so it's just a matter of me going out and getting it done in game now. And I'll put up some gameplay over the next few days and you'll absolutely see me using this. And I'll do the same setup with Kelsey on an apprentice corner as well, but you see he clears out very nicely right there for the post. So we'll definitely be doing that a lot. And that's a great one for the CFM guys. Great one. And then we're gonna do this other one now. See, so this is beautiful. You're doing a high low to both sides, because I'm gonna put Kelsey on a corner, I'm gonna put a wheel under him, and then streak the other tight end. This is something you can come on and run over and over and over until your opponent adjusts to it, because he's gonna have to think about the high low on both sides, and you're pulling people out of the middle of the field, and then you can start hitting them with some of those double cross things that are coming back into the middle of the field. So you can really keep your opponents off guard if you mix these plays up. And one thing I like to do, and it's a common tip, but I'll say it anyway, just in case there is somebody who isn't aware, is I try to, when I'm in game, I try to make all my adjustments before I make my shift. That way, when I'm in tight, if there's a specific setup you do for tight coverage with your defense, you're going to have that all sorted out. And by the time I make that motion, you don't have time to set up whatever it is you typically do against a trips look. I can snap before you get prepared for that. And another thing I do, and I'm going to show it in game, is because I motion so much, plays when I don't motion, I'll still move the cursor around a little bit to different players to make you think a motion's coming. And by the time I snap the ball, you're usually caught off guard because you expect a motion before anything. Yeah, so you see I'm doing this setup a couple times because I really do like it, and I want to show that you got a few options. This is cover 2. This thing absolutely annihilates cover 2. Tight end gets open too. I mean, everybody's open against cover 2. So now here we're going to go through the runs real fast. So the stretch is okay stock. There's no doubt about it. Especially depending when you check the leverage of the defense. It's good stock going to the wide side of the field too, mind you. But what I've learned is that motioning out this receiver, especially on the short side, it allows you to read your tight end. See number 83, that's Ricky Seals-Jones for the Chiefs. You come in and you're typically running off him. So he's going to get a block to the outside more often than not, and you're going to cut in behind him. And then if you make somebody miss, you got big yards. If you don't, you're looking at 5 to 7 yards anyway. But see, there it is right there. You want to motion that receiver out, read the tight end, and you typically got a good run going to the short side of the field. That same motion isn't as effective to the wide side of the field, so I'll show you what it is I am doing over there that seems to be a little more effective. But we're just going to show that run. I think that might be the last time. I don't know. We'll show it a couple times just to show you that it's consistent. You see, watch your tight end, get in behind him. All right, see, so going this way, leaving the stock tends to be a little bit better than leaving the stock going to the short side. But what I prefer to do going this way is bring this tight end over, and then I end up being able to read off on number 71, Schwartz. That's the right guard. I end up usually being able to read off of him, but even if I don't, I can bounce this to the outside for a short gain. I should say a moderate gain, because 5-yard run isn't a bad thing at all. Now, I haven't taken this in game since the patch. This practice was after the patch, where they said they nerfed the run, specifically stretch, a little bit. So I see I'm still able to get decent gains in practice. I'm going to take it in game hopefully this weekend, and then I'll be able to confirm how well it's working. But it looks like it's still doing the same thing in practice. Again, this motion isn't as effective going this way. Got a decent block that time, but I find it isn't as effective going this way. To the wide side, that is. Now, I was watching this dude, Braylon Miller. Apparently, he had a breakdown on this scheme a couple weeks ago, and he was showing that if you motion it's not even about wide and short side. If you motion the right receiver to the left and snap during stretch, he does this little loop back thing before he goes forward. He'll get you a decent block sometimes, but of course there are times where that can be a problem, because you're gonna have people coming in hitting you before he even turns upfield. But the interesting thing is, when you do that same motion the opposite way, to the right, if you grab Tyreek and bring him to the right, he actually gets some really good blocks. I think I'm gonna go show that right now. Yeah, so I'm typically snapping him right as he passes the tight end. You see, he goes out there and he just does work, right? So that's what I'm typically doing. It's snapping him right there. But what I've discovered too is that I can wait till he passes Miko, which is exactly what I'm doing with when I'm motion snapping him in the passing game, and he still goes up and gets that good block. So either or, but I think it's probably going to depend on the defense. If I got somebody that's got leverage on the tight end, I might snap him as soon as he passes the tight end, see if he helps in there. But otherwise, I'll let him go past Miko and then snap him off Miko's hip. The zone, for me, the zone is all about looking at what you got in front of you. I don't like doing any motions with the zone, really. Maybe when I'm going to the short side, the same motion as far as that receiver to the outside of the boundary, that works. But outside of that, with the zone, if there's space, I'm just gonna point my man at the space and run it, because I find that works most effective. See, so right here, I would never run this to the right. I'm just doing it for the purposes of the video. But the way this defense is set up, I will take the zone to the left, because I see there's nobody over my left tackle, Eric Fisher. And you can actually bounce this to the outside pretty good sometimes too. You just gotta watch the leverage of those linemen. See, so yeah, this motion is pretty effective as well, and a lot of times this is when you end up bouncing it to the outside. See, this motion isn't bad with the zone. It definitely isn't. It changes what happens with the blocking, and if anything, sometimes it makes those lanes easier to read. So let's do it again and see what happens. See, now look, I can bounce that to the outside. You see, so running to this side of the field, in general, that motion isn't bad. Not at all. It's quite effective. But it's just to the short side of the field. So if you're on the right hash, you can do the same thing on the right side. But that tip about the wide receiver motioning across, doesn't matter if you're on the short side, the wide side, it's always the left receiver going to the right who blocks well, and the right receiver going to the left who does that funny loop around thing. But you see, coming this direction, that same motion, even with the zone, isn't as effective. Mind you, the box is a little more heavy over there. So, but I find even when the box is the same, it doesn't do nearly as well as when I'm motioning that receiver out on the short side. Excuse me, sorry. Alright, let's see how well we can do this. Alright, we got about 10 minutes left, which is good. I need to go have some vitamin C or something. Okay, so cover 2 man. This I absolutely love. You see Tyreek, he just walks past dude. This route is the money. Now Tyreek's a great receiver, so we're gonna switch this. We're gonna let Mecole run the route, who's below average. He's fast, but he's a below average receiver in terms of route running and release. And he's going against Gilly. Look at this. Mecole Hardman walk past Stephon Gilmore. So now that you see that route is amazing against cover 2, against man in general, I'm going to show you what I typically do that makes it an unstoppable play. You see Travis Kelce on this crossing route? He's not getting bumped leaving the line of scrimmage at all. So your user has to think about 2 routes that are going to be ridiculously hard to defend against man. And then, of course, I have Mecole over here, who I can do different things with. I typically only throw 3 routes out here. There's no reason to throw more than 3 routes, to be completely honest. But, I mean, if you want to, you absolutely can. If I had halfback apprentice, I would absolutely put an angle route down there, and I would just laugh at my opponent as they try to figure it out. Whip routes, listen, man, I'm hearing people saying whip routes don't beat man. I'm telling you right now, whip routes are going crazy. Maybe it's because these guys are in tight, but they go crazy for me. And I'm going to show you what I do against cover 0, actually, because it's whip routes. I got touchdowns on this play every time I've run it against cover 0. Now, I've never actually done this slant. I was going to say, not like that. The slant and the corner's fine. I would typically wait another half a second to let Mecole get a little more space. But so that works nicely as well. And again, this whole thing is great against zone as well. Don't think this is just a man beating play or a man beating route. And leaving Mecole on his route works nicely because that cross and the post almost acts like those double post plays, right? And Mecole will get a step depending on the defender he's up against. But you got to try to get him shortly after the break. Yeah, of course I like bench, and I like this setup. I find I don't use it anymore. I use it a couple times in game, and it's really hit or miss. There are times where they get all jumbled up and take a long time to get off the line, and it's trouble. And in game, you're getting shed and you're getting sacked. But there are other times where it runs smooth and you have four receivers wide open. So it's not worth it. I have way too many options to put myself through those headaches. So I'm gonna run a random cover 0, or random man blitz, because some of them actually cover 1, ain't they? Those 2 routes, I have gotten a ton of touchdowns off, because most users, when they're sending that much heat, they're trying to follow those double drags because that's what they assume you're running. So when Tyreek goes in, by the time he comes back out, you're not catching him. It's just not gonna happen. And then, of course, Mecole will get open as well. And they both do a good job blocking for each other. Like, they run up that sideline together. So now the final thing I do with this is I'll put Kelce on his route. And those 3 routes, kiss the game goodbye. Cover 0 doesn't stand a chance. So if you're in this offense and somebody plays cover 0, hit them with this. And to be completely honest, you really only need these 2 routes. And you're going to see in the gameplay, pretty sure I got 3 touchdowns doing this in the gameplay. Alright, so here we go, facing the Chicago Bears. I'm really only going to show highlights of the new setups. So I'm not showing all the things from the first ebook. I think I got 1 or 2 from the first ebook, but for the most part, it's just going to be new stuff. So you see, you may not have noticed, but the streak was actually wide open there. But I was reading the running back first. So this is just straight up bench. We hit that. And so I think we did a hurry up here. Oh no, we didn't. Oh, now see, this is one thing too. You got to be able to make adjustments. This may not be one of the setups. I was supposed to set up the bomb play, but I just put Tyreek on that quick out because he backed everybody away and there's nothing but grass over there. You know, I'm not in a rush to score. It's the first quarter. So we got to be smart about how we playing this game out here. Now I'm going to motion Tyreek out. I'm going to run this stretch. He actually makes it easy on me. He starts to bite everybody in. So this was easy money. 1-on-1. See you later. 1-on-none, I should say. That was too easy. So yeah, the stretches were really effective with that motion. So here you go. This is going to be one of the cover zero whip beaters. And you got people really out here playing punt defense, because that's what this is, you know. You out here doing this punt defense or field goal defense. I guess it works against some people, but not me. That ain't never worked against me. There was one dude, or is one dude, because I actually played him in M21, but I played him in Madden 20 a lot, and Madden 21 only once, who ran that defense a lot. Not the same one, but it's one of those punt defenses. I used to smoke him, and he always waited till he was down like 20-0 or something, 21-0. See, so here's another cover zero, and we're gonna just go take this to the house the same way. I'm trying to tell you, this whip does it. Believe me when I tell you. Alright, and then after that now, PA cross. Okay, so this was in the first book. Oh no, this one wasn't in the first book. Oh, and this is a cover zero too, so this is straight Tyreek walking to the end zone. I'm telling you, if you think it's man, just use this. I mean, of course, you got a lot of other setups. Double cross is nice against man, but make him respect it. Make him respect this. And you're using that same motion with the stretch. All right, what's he setting up here? Let's see. Oh, see, so because I don't need any motion to the right side of the field or the wide side of the field, I'll very often motion that receiver out to the left or to the short side and still run it to the wide side. Just little things to do to keep your opponent off guard, you know, keep them guessing. And now here's one where I'm gonna move my icon around, but I'm not really motioning anybody. Just make him sit there and wait for the motion to come in. It never does. Sometimes you catch guys off guard. So I'll play these little games. The game within the game, you know. And then we got our double drags out there. And just hit them quick underneath. You see, so do I throw the bombs? Absolutely. But everything doesn't have to be a bomb. Not at all. You definitely got to throw some jabs. You can't just throw haymakers, or you're going to leave your chin exposed. And here you go, to the wide side of the field. We don't need that motion. It absolutely works to the wide side of the field without the motion better. In game for me. Let me know if you find anything different. That's what this thing is about. Now you'll find too, there are a lot of setups that I'm just doing randomly, especially like with a flat and a wheel or out and a wheel. They're not all going to be in the ebook, because I mean, if they were, the ebook would be 3 days long. So I typically try to show you the main things I'm running, how abusing coverages, zones, man, so on and so forth. And then feel free to get out here and put your own twist on things. I absolutely do a lot of things in game, sometimes that I've never done before. So here you go. I see a single high safety, so I want to see if I get one of the tight ends. And here we go. That's bench. Those wide receiver corners in bench. They're gonna put a single high safety in a lot of trouble. So we're hitting that stretch again with the wide receiver motioned out. Just make this one man miss. We go pick up a couple yards. Second and 19. We're about to run my favorite play. That's PA cross with the running back motion on his wheel. I absolutely love this setup. I'm not so sure it's my favorite play anymore. I really got a lot of favorite plays in this thing now. And look at that money. What was it? Cover one, I think I was facing. Yeah, I think it was cover one. I'm trying to tell you, that crosser murders, man. Absolutely. But that bench setup with the wide receiver, from the wide side motion all the way over to the short side, is quickly becoming a favorite. quickly becoming a favorite. But like I said, I hadn't played any games post all of this recording, so I don't have that to show in game, but I will very soon. I think this supposed to be a zone run. Nope. Well, it's coming. If it ain't, yeah, it's coming. Oh, on this one, you see, I mean, it's not a bad read. I end up putting the tight end on the drag, and I end up hitting him. But if you look up, Kelsey actually came open right as I was releasing this ball. But it's okay. You make your read and you take what you got to take. All right, now this is the last game. I probably got 2 or 3 highlights out of here, and then we'll be on our way. So, fellas, I appreciate y'all for everything. This was in the first ebook, but it's just another one that's CFM friendly, so I figured I'd include it because it doesn't include any motion snap. See, so we're gonna beat you over top easily. Remember, when you're on the short side of the field, running that to the short side of the field against cover 3 or even cover 1, it's more effective than going to the wide side. This was the first time I did this whip. Actually, I saw this guy was running cover 0, and I was like, yo, let's try this. And wow, you can see why I tried it again. This was probably the best of the 3 touchdowns that I scored using it. This dude was really good, by the way. He had like 40 something points on me by halftime. See, 42. I ended up with 35. But we couldn't finish the game. My son woke up. I got him to punt it one time, and I threw a turnover one time. Other than that, we both scored on all our possessions. Fellas, thank you for rocking with me. It's been real. Take care.